Hello everybody and welcome back as we are back on action on track here for race 2, round 5 at Deep Forest. We had race 1 earlier and race 2 is now on as it is. As always, it's going to be 17 laps, same as race 1 and reverse grid from the previous one. So just navigating through the results of race 1. RLD who won in P1 with Plenty in P2 after a good fight with Ryan Cooper who nearly lost P3 as well. Came in down to P3. Came in down in P3 after a fight with GT. He almost had P1 for most of the race, but eventually lost it in the last couple of laps with GT in P4, P5 for one part of it. A very good Apex original result. Need2 came in P6 despite a big mistake from him as well, along with RLD, who then went on to win, and Need2 still end up in P6, she'll say. So P7 for an empty net where he finished starts there is that place as well. P8 was for Z Jones who starts P6 here right now, and P9 was for Craze who starts P5 here. P10 was for Page, he's going to start P4. P11 or P11 that should be, I believe, if we have 13 drivers, that's going to be P11. Eventually for Smoke, he finished just out there. P12 was for Monte Carlos and P13 for Wolf Clapp. And it is the two teammates who are going to be starting in P1 and 2. So it's a front row start for the two teammates out here. Let's not waste any time and get started. And we're going to be ready to go racing for race 2 here at Deep Forest. Wolf on pole with Carlos in P3 and P2 and Smoke in P3. 5 red lights and we go racing at Deep Forest for race 2. It's a decent start for Wolf. It's a decent start for his teammate Monty in P2 as well. Smoke in P3 has got a very good start. Meanwhile, Page and Numpty are going to be headed as well, heading towards turn 1. C. Jones is going to be on his own as well. He's going to go for it on the inside line, sends it in there. Meanwhile, drivers at the back are on their own as well. Numpty, Ryan, GT, along with one part of wood, all these guys are sending it on. Plenty is in P12, he's not been able to gain up a good place. RLD in P15, a little bit of a chaos happening up at the front of the field. What is going on? Meanwhile, Jones is in P5, a very good, decent start for him out there as well, with Page in P4, Smoke in P3, has kept up where he started. Meanwhile, Carlos has got a very decent start up, but he's going to go a little bit wide, almost make contact with the wall. The two teammates still continue to keep the 1-2 as a teammate, but not too long. The chemistry driver is going to get on right on the outside. Wolf there, they'll be side by side. Is it going to be Wolf? Is it going to be Smoke who's going to be later on the brakes heading towards the left-ender? It is all to play for as Jones is right behind on the inside line of there as well on one of the drivers, and that's going to be Page who's going to be around the outside. Ryan Cooper nearly makes contact. He's now out and about, has to back out of it as Smoke is now on. He's past Wolf. He's going to try and get past Monty, but for how long? Before he can do that, but Smoke is now going to be in a bit of a pressure because he's not going to leave him behind at all as Wolf is back on track to give him a little bit of a fight out there. These two are still going to be on, heading towards turn 1 on the inside line. Meanwhile, Smoke and meanwhile Jones and Ryan Cooper are fighting each other as well. So as Smoke and Wolf just gets back to the position on. Meanwhile, Page is going to be just behind Ryan Cooper there. Ryan in P5 on his way to continue. For how long can he do? Eventually out there as C. Jones is in now P4. He might have the opportunity to get past these guys at the front as he's going to be on. He's going to lose out. He's going to try and get past Wolf up there as Smoke is in P4 with Page in P5. And Ryan Cooper, in fact, now is going to be there as Page and Ryan are going to be side by side. Page is uneven a little bit, and Ryan's going to go a little bit wide. He went quite wide there, but not enough for him to lose any position or have a chance of losing a position out there. Meanwhile, out and about, Page and Numpty are going to be side by side, wheel to wheel between the two, as Numpty and GT are going to be there. In fact, it's going to be Plenty and GT who might be going side wheel to wheel. Out there as one pair of wood will be there as well. It is all happening in this one. Everybody's looking for position. Everybody's looking for chances. Meanwhile, GT's going to go for on the inside line on his teammate. Rather, that's going to be Numpty or GT. Both teammates are going to be fighting each other off as GT gets a better exit. Does he though? Because now his teammate might have the opportunity. Rather, he's already ahead of him or already No, he's not ahead of him actually. He's in P10, and 11 is for GT. RLT is in P12, so not a good start for him, and we've lost out one driver already. I'm not sure who that is gonna be, because we've lost out one and started with 13. So Monte Carlos is still in the lead of the race, with C. Jones in P2, as he's going to keep it going. He's going to continue, and he indeed is continuing for the moment. But for how long before we might see some action out there, because Jones has managed up to P2, and Wolf is in P3 now. Smoke in P4, with Ryan Cooper in P5 by the looks of it. So are we going to be seeing any movement? In the previous race, all the action, a lot of action was happening, and with this reverse grid, it just mixes up the pace in, and we had a bit of action, pretty much a lot of action at the front and a bit of it in the middle and then at the back. So now this is going to be here, nicely won, nice one to watch. These two fought it all race long, and they're going to be fighting each other once more, as Plenty and Ryan Cooper are going to be will to will, with Smoke coming out right behind them as well. Rather, Smoke is actually ahead of him. Meanwhile, Ryan and Plenty are going to be going for it. Meanwhile, Jones might have a bit of a pressure to lose that, but maybe not. Meanwhile, Wolf and Smoker are going to be going wheel to wheel with each other, and they will be on to racing one another, and they're going to be almost 3 wide heading towards the final few corners. And on that main straight now, this is all going to be on. We might have 4 wide heading towards turn 1. It is going to be Wolf, it's going to be Smoke, it's going to be Plenty along with Ryan Cooper. It's nearly going to be 4 wide heading towards turn 1. He's going to go for the inside line. Plenty's going to try and get past. He almost does get past his teammate. They're going to make contact. Plenty nearly loses the car, as Ryan Cooper is now going to make his way around the outside, but that's rather going to be the middle of Smoke out there. The two teammates are going to be on. Ryan makes contact, and he's going to hit the wall, but still he's kept it on. A little bit of a slide, a bit of a movement for Ryan Cooper, and it's all going on. Nobody's wanting to back out. Plenty's still going to stay there. You would have only thought that he's not going to stay. He's going to stay there and maybe, back out of it. But Ryan Cooper, despite that bit of a mistake, despite him being pushed a little bit wide, making contact with the wall, he's continued on. He's brilliantly done so. Meanwhile, our race leader, Monte Carlo, starting on the medium tyres, still continuing on. And he's got a huge lead. I mean, at this point, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, he might have the opportunity. We're on lap 4 out of 17. Meanwhile, the opportunity is going to be on Plenty and Ryan's shoulders to overtake one another right now. These guys are just chilling by the looks of it. Meanwhile, Wolf is going to give up a bit of a challenge to Smoke as well, because these two teammates are doing a decent job enough out there. It's almost C. Jones who's on his own right now. Everybody else is in a fight. Either they're involved or they're trying to get involved. It is going to be all to play for now. Smoke and Wolf, Plenty and Ryan Cooper, they're all going to be heading towards turn 1 on the inside line. It's going to be Plenty who's rather goes around the outside, but he's going to go very wide. That'll easily allow Plenty to get past, and now Wolf will be overtaking Smoke as well. They'll be wheel to wheel. Meanwhile, Ryan Cooper's got a better exit out, better than Plenty, and they'll still be there. Meanwhile, Wolf and Smoke are going to be wheel to wheel. The action is going to continue on. They've kept it like this for all race long in these 5 laps, and definitely just because of that, sure, they're on those soft tires to say the least, but still those tires have nearly half gone, and they should be coming into the pits soon, very soon now. Especially, I mean, sure that those tires are going to degrade, but you know when you're fighting, you're side by side, you wheel to wheel for the whole 5 laps of action, that is going to happen. Meanwhile, Ryan has he's got a decent tire, but his front right tire is in a little bit of a worse condition than as compared to all the other tires, as he's now in P4, and he's going to be switching up his focus into P3 now. He's going to try and get past Wolf. Can he get past Wolf there? The opportunity will be his, but he runs a little bit wide, and that's easily going to allow Wolf to get past him, but he might have just got in good enough exit to keep himself out there. Meanwhile, a lot is still happening at the back as well, as Smoke is in P5, Numpty in P6, with Numpty in P7, RLD in P6, and Numpty in P7. These guys are going to be going wheel to wheel as well, as Plenty's lost down. He's now down in P8. Page and Burwood are going to be going side by side heading towards turn 1. The action will be on. They will have the opportunity. He's going to be able to get past GT out there as well. A lot is happening. Rather, so much is happening. Numpty Ned and RLD are going to be will to will. Who's going to be getting at the better exit? As Numpty's going to go around the outside and is going to stay there. And I wonder if somebody's made a mistake. No, they haven't. Rather, a bit of a movement of a car sliding around. But our race leader is still continuing on. So much is happening here. Are we going to see the unbelievable? Are we going to see what we haven't seen this season so far? Monte Carlos, who is still in the lead of this race since 6 laps have passed, and somebody spun around and they'll be on their own, and it has to be one Para Wood. Man finished P5 in the previous race. It's going to be a mistake from them and they're going to be lost out in this one. And Nitu is in P10. We can't find Cray, so that rather means Cray is the one who we've got missing out here. Meanwhile, Ryan Cooper has jumped up back to P3. Brilliantly done within 6 laps of this race. He's got it done, and Wolf goes a little bit wide. Rather, he actually takes it how he should have taken that corner. Meanwhile, Smoke is going to be in the P5 with Plenty in P6 right now. Plenty's going to be on his way. Z-Jones is into the pits along with RLD and Wolf as well. All those guys on a set of soft compound tires are going to be coming into the pits. Plenty's going to try and give up a bit of a challenge to his own teammate heading towards turn 1. I don't think he's going to be going for it though, or in fact he might be going for it. But will he make the corner perfect and easy? Maybe not, or maybe he will, as he just does enough to stay ahead of his teammates and get the job done. Brilliant move from Chemistry Team Racing Driver. I think both of the teammates, so they're not pretty much going to be fighting each other out there really. They're going to be fighting each other, but maybe not a lot of it, as Numpty Scott is on. Meanwhile, these two guys do a decent job as a team as well. Nito is in P7 on his own in this one, as his teammate isn't to be found around here. Jones is now in P9 and has went on to a set of medium tyres, medium compound tyre after those pit stops. RLD into the pits as well, along with Wolf in P11 now, after a pit stop with Wolf Burwood, who's made his stop as well after making a mistake. Meanwhile, Monte Carlos is still going to continue on. A little bit of a mistake, a little bit of a white cows Monty there, and that might not make it easy for him. And now by the looks of it, everybody's pretty much getting a bit of a breathing space, because a couple of drivers getting out of the way and pit stops being made. I'm sure it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be as easy as it even looks right now, and I think definitely on those medium tires they're still looking in decent condition, as Monty's now got a penalty. But so far, if it is to be said, he has an exceptionally well done job. Till lap 8 out of 17, he's kept the lead, and we've seen some good starts from him. We've seen some good start from overall drivers starting in the top in that race too, but because of reverse grid. But it's a mistake though that come in. It's the mistakes that limit these drivers to continue for a longer amount of time, longer amount of laps in these races in those top positions. So it's only right we see somebody now make the most of that pole position and the opportunity they had to be starting at the top. Meanwhile, Smoke has now got a penalty, so that might allow Numpty to get past him. As the gap is not much between these drivers, so it's all going to be happening. And yup, he'll be forced to decelerate at the next penalty line. Will be Smoke, and that should be an opportunity. I want an easy move, but an easy opportunity, and it is already going to be an easy one as Smoke slows down to get his penalty out of the way. Numpty will get out of his way and make an overtake. Meanwhile, Smoke is going to be heading towards the wall. Nearly avoid. Does GT narrowly avoid spinning Smoke, and he's going to be into the wall. He'll try and get back on, but the damage might have been sufficient, as he's got a bit of a problem. And definitely in race 1 we saw these medium tire runners to continue on for a good decent amount of time out on track before a pit stop, and they are going to be doing that. And Monty has got a decent amount of fuel as well, to maybe even a lap or more, probably lap to 11, 10 or maybe 11, lap 11 as well. So also, you have to make sure during these stops you don't overdo it, you don't overrun in terms of when to pit and where you should pit, because if you do that, it could go a lot of the times wrong for you as well. Meanwhile, now Plenty is in P3 with Ryan in P2. Remember, these guys, all of them are yet to pit from Monte Carlos all the way to Smoke in P8 are yet to pit, whilst Jones, RLD, Wolf, and Wolf is going to be making a mistake and he's going to head towards the wall of his just service. We just over switch up to them. They're going to find themselves in towards the wall there. As I said, these guys have made a pit stop along with Wolf and One Power Wood, who's stopped as well. While our race leader is going to continue on. As Ryan Cooper had a moment, he might have just had a moment there, because by the looks of it, it is only getting closer. Plenty is only going to get closer to our Ryan, and it doesn't matter if they made their pit stop or not. They're still going to fight for track position. They're still going to fight for moves that can move them up on track, and then get themselves extra points, extra championship points that are only going to benefit these guys moving forward. Ryan Cooper up a bit of an issue. He's going to try and defend his position all he can. He's going to try and defend it all. By the looks of it, he's going to go a little bit wide even once more, and definitely by the looks of it, he is struggling on those tires. The tires are almost in similar conditions, but slightly better tires for Plenty by the looks of it, as Ryan's front right tire is in a lot worse conditions than Plenty's. Almost very similar, but definitely, as we had Kane tell us about, it could be tire temperatures as well a lot of the time. Even the tire sometimes could be in a better condition than the other driver, but the tire temperatures could be coming into play, and if those tires are heating up, he will not have any grip at all. And Plenty's going to be on all top of Ryan Cooper there. He's going to go around down the inside or around the outside to make a move, taking it. He's going to have to go for the switch back on the inside line, the old switcheroo, and he'll get past Ryan Cooper like that. Exceptionally well done, and he's going to head straight in towards the pit lane. Plenty on lap 10 out of 17 is going to go into the pits along with Numpty, while Ryan Cooper and Monte Carlos, both of them have decided to stay out for one more lap to use all of their fuel, to use all of the resources they've got before they need to come into the pits, before they have to eventually come into the pits and make a pit stop to the end of it. So they're gonna pretty much, not leave anything out on the table, not leave anything that's not going to be good. So it's all about on what we're going to be seeing out there. Eventually, Monte Carlos in P1 with Ryan Cooper in P2, followed by GT in P3. Nito in P4 with Page in P5. Has Smoke been sliding around? Bit of a car sounds we saw. So Smoke is yet to pit along with those at the top. But looking at this, Jones has pitted. He's now in P7, and he's now automatically going to get better as those who haven't pitted are going to pit. Meanwhile, RLD in P8 now, buying Jones along with Plenty. So that undercut already working out for C. Jones, but definitely come the end of this race, he's going to have a lot less grip on those tires as compared to everybody else around, but it might or might not help him, to say the least, while Monte Carlos is now into the pits as well, along with Ryan Cooper, and now it's going to be all to see. GT hasn't pitted, he's going to come in as well, along with Nitu. Page and Smoke should be coming in as well, but it'll be all. Meanwhile, RLD's going to be in a bit of pressure from Plenty there, as Plenty's going to send it on the inside line, but now RLD's going to do the old switcheroo to get past him there. Meanwhile, it's all to look at what these guys are going to be doing and what is going to be happening. Depending on these who are just now pitting, will they get the opportunity to exit better around? And it is all C. Jones who's going to be making their way around the main straight now, while a lot of the other drivers are now going to be coming out of the pits as well. And Monte Carlos has brilliantly got the exit, nicely done, ahead of Jones, and he's definitely going to be happy about that. While RLD and Plenty are going to be fighting each other off, they're not going to leave it off at all. They're racing brilliantly and taking it all together, while Smoke and Page at the top have not yet pitted. Carlos in P3 is going to be a jump off. It's a net race lead. Well, Plenty gets past RLD. He's definitely giving it all, and he knows that how big of a threat RLD is since he won race 1, and then eventually throughout the season RLD has been very consistent, just like Plenty has. So these guys know that they need to take control a couple of these drivers to get themselves the best opportunity, while C Jones might now be in a bit of a pressure from Plenty out there as well, because Plenty is now going to be on right behind Carl to make a move to really get himself. But Carl is going to go very nicely defensive on the inside line, heading towards the final sector of the track. But will Plenty get a better exit? I don't think so. He's nearly going to, you know, he's going to make it feel like that he's going to be making the move, but he maybe will not. And both the drivers at the top who are yet to pit are now going to come into the pits. Eventually, as you're going to see these guys, all of these guys now move around, and the fight at the top is pretty much going to be C Jones and Plenty so far, while Carlos is going to be in a bit of pressure to get on that, because Plenty's going to go around the outside to get past C Jones and make himself get him into P2, while Jones and RLD are going to be giving each other a fight. They're going to be fighting each other rough out there to make it best. RLD's now got a penalty. RLD has got a penalty, and now these remaining laps are going to be very interesting, because Monte Carlos has got a very good lead, but one single mistake is going to ruin all that progress for him. So I'm sure he knows that he isn't going to be making it lose. He isn't going to be making it count in terms of you know, how such an opportunity to win a race. Remember, it's the same amount of points in both the races, so you get a very good advantage of, you know, because the reverse grid, it mixes around. And if we are going to finally see a result of this mixed grid, and why exactly we have it with a driver who finished last in the previous race, starting on pole, still leads from lap 1 to lap 13, brilliantly driven out and about throughout the race, while GT is now going to be catching up back to RLD, who had to slow down because of a penalty. Meanwhile, Plenty is going to be on, and he is only going to be pulling away. Our race leaders are now into lap 14. They are improving on their time, but you know that he's only going to be now counting out those laps and make sure that he's going to be driving with consistent pace, driving with good speed, so it doesn't allow Plenty to get closer to him, to catch up to him in terms of what he can do and how he can do out there. While Jones is in P3, RLD is now going to be in a fight with the GT, so that's only going to be good news for C Jones there by the looks of it, because otherwise, had RLD not slowed down because of his penalty, Jones would have been in a lot of pressure from RLD there. But now RLD being in pressure from GT, it's only going to be better for Jones out there. Meanwhile, Ryan Cooper is in P6 as well. He's got a penalty. He's only arriving behind these guys, but he's got a penalty, so it might only make him just get a bit slowed down out there, while Nito is going to be in P8 just behind Numpty Ned. So one part wood smoke. Wolf is in P11, so Wolf might have made a mistake. Has he not? I'm sure he has pitted, so not sure what is going on, as Wolf is going to be side by side with Page. They're going to be Will to Will. Remember, Wolf started in P2, but Wolf couldn't stay at the top. He was staying at the top earlier on, but maybe not anymore, as he's going to be side by side. These two are going to be Will to Will, racing out and each other while we look for action at the top. We're going to have some action at the bottom of this race. It is going to be Wolf and Page who are going to be fighting into the rough, while now Plenty is catching up to Wolf, Monte Carlos, but so are the laps getting to the end of this one. Jones is going to be on, but so is going to be GT on RLD, and he is past GT, he's past RLD, and that pressure that we said that C. Jones is going to be out of, he might not be out of it here, because it's only going to start to get on him now, while Ryan Cooper is arriving from behind as well. Sure, he's not going to waste any time, any opportunity that he gets, any time he knows that there's a chance to get back, he's going to be getting back, while Monte Carlos is just about within just about 1 second, I'd say, or that's even less than a second now between these two. drivers the gap, and Monte Carlos and Plenty could be on with each other. The race will be on, the action will be on. It is, ooh, that was a bit of a moment for Plenty, and I think those moments are going to come in. It doesn't mean that Monty started and finished last in the previous race. He's going to have those. I mean, so far he's done it brilliantly. We're heading towards the second last lap of this race, and as much as he's going to be smiling under that helmet, the pressure is going to be increasing. That heartbeat is going to be increasing, while GT's heartbeat is going to be at the top. He's about to get past RLD. They'll be side by side. The better exit's going to be on GT's way, or RLD who's going to have the inside line. GT just gets it enough, but does he though? Because they're still going to be wheel to wheel, sticking around there. RLD's going to push a little bit wide. He nearly has to back out to win an action. Rather, he hasn't backed out just yet. They'll make contact, as they do make contact just out of it. And now Ryan Cooper's going to be there as well. Ryan's going to get passed out there. They were side by side as action is going to be on eventually, as Ryan's going to get past him now. And Monty is still going to be decent enough time for him. A bit of a slide, a couple of slides from Plenty might have helped him. Meanwhile, these guys are fighting each other off, as also helping Jones there, who's still in P3 on his own, as GT's and now P4. Has he pulled away from these guys? Because that bit of a contact for RLD allowed Ryan Cooper to get closer, and now they're going to be fighting Ryan Cooper along with Nitu and Numpty Ned are now arriving from behind at the scene as well. It is all happening here on lap 16 out of 17. Our leader's going to move away into the final lap of the race along with these drivers. So the fights are still going to be happening. And definitely by the looks of it, either Monte Carlos has got mega speed that he was saving the last couple of laps, or it has to be Plenty who made a couple of mistakes. And look at that, the fuel, as much fuel as Plenty has, the car's going to be on heavyweight, so it might not be a lot, but still that's going to be the difference between these two. Monte Carlos only needs to make it through one lap, and it's only right he has that much fuel. Meanwhile, P5 is going to be up for grabs. GT and Jones have pulled away. P5 is going to be on the way to be grabbed. Either it's going to be it's going to be RLD, Nitu, even Numpty Ned, along with one para Wood. He's slightly further away from these guys. It's going to be Numpty, RLD, Nitu, and Ryan Cooper. All these guys to take it on, as Jones and GT are going to be in their own fight by the looks of it, as they're going to be getting through. It could be tricky between these two, and they might or might not just be an opportunity for GT to get ahead of Jones there. Meanwhile, we're going to go to our race leader, and we're going to go to Monte Carlos, the man who had been at the bottom the last couple of races, is going to make a comeback, and comeback has to be like his. Started on pole and is going to win race 2 here at Date Forest, and takes it up ahead of the likes of Plenty. Jones is going to be going over the line. They nearly got photo finish once more. See Jones in the previous race and right now as well, with GT in P4, followed by Ryan Cooper, who's going to be in P6. Ryan Cooper's in P5. Nitu comes in P4. With P6, with RLD in P7, with Numpty Ned in P8, followed by One Para Wood in P9. And now it is going to be Smoke completing out the top, and just about at the end of it, it is going to be Page who's going to follow up into P4 into P11, while our last driver, it is going to be Wolf Club, and we're about to see them get to the end of this race. And I mean, what a race we've had so far. Monte Carlos starting on pole, and that pole position wasn't from qualifying, it was for being the worst the previous race, but they ended up being the best this race, and this might be their race of the season. They did an exceptionally brilliant job to win. Plenty in P2 after trying to fight him off, but in the end backed out with C Jones and GT. C Jones in the previous race nearly had a photo finish as well, so he did in this one. He did an exceptionally well done job, and it was a brilliant one. I mean, if it wasn't for the heroics of Monte Carlos for us to follow since it was going to be his first win, but an exceptionally well done. And then Ryan Cooper for having to fight Nidu, RLD, Numpty Net even at the end arrived as well. He's got ended up being in P5, so good consistent results for him as well, despite missing their teammate. Ryan did what he does best out there. And then these are going to be your results, ladies and gentlemen, as we're just going to be getting to the end of it, as this is going to be it from me, guys, as this was once again myself, Zabi, bringing you guys all the action. Hope you all enjoyed it, because that was some absolutely amazing racing by all of these drivers, giving it their all, giving it their 100% to show us the action, as we're now going to move over to Carl once again for the driver interviews.
Thank you, Zabi, for your commentary on Race 1 and Race 2 this weekend. I think we can all agree this weekend's racing has been some of the best that Apex Racing League has had to offer so far. GR3 class, always competitive racing. Add a circuit like this where overtaking is difficult and the pack is so close together, it has made for some absolutely brilliant racing all weekend. Just like to thank every driver before we go into the interviews for race 2 for taking part this weekend, for having some really, really close battles, having your elbows out, and just, maximum effort in both race 1 and race 2 from every single driver. In today's interviews, we have something slightly different. We have Planty, who had another good race in race number 2, and we have Smoke Dog, who is Planty's teammate in the Constructors title. And he obviously struggled this weekend in both race 1 and race 2. So we'll catch up with Smoke Dog as well, and we will find out exactly how he found the weekend and what he found difficult in both races as well, before touching on what's happening next weekend with the special event. I did also finish on the podium in this race. And I think, before we go into the interviews, I would just add that the podium I had this weekend was massively, massively unexpected. I did not expect it in the slightest. I had struggled all week, and I found myself not putting as much practice in as what I normally did, purely for the fact of I was just getting frustrated because I kept on spinning. And you saw it in race 1. I had a couple of spinny moments in race 1. And was battling towards the back of the grid, albeit the last couple of laps obviously come to me, and I managed to make up some places. In race 2, I can't really tell you exactly what happened. I started on the softs, which is something that I hadn't done all week. I'd been starting on the mediums, but I just thought, I'm near the front of the grid, I'll put the softs on and let's just see what happens. And it fell to me. I was very, very lucky. Not gonna lie, because there was a lot of battling behind me, and I think if it wasn't for the fact that there was so much battling behind me, it would have been a whole different ball game. But look, 3 podiums on the trot, 3 weekends in a row, and my main goal for this season was to keep, or was to improve the consistency side of my driving. And the last few weekends, I felt that happen. So yeah, good weekend, very much unexpected. But we will take them when they come. Sometimes they just fall into place and everything works out fine for you. That being said, we will move over now to the interview with Planty and Smoke. Okay, so Planty, we will start with you this evening. Another P2 in race 2. But this one was from the back of the grid. How different did that drive feel compared to race 1?
It didn't feel any different at all. I started from the back, but it was just intense battling from lap 1 all the way to the final lap, just like race 1. It was just a constant battle with various amount of drivers, and obviously, in race 1, it was a 3-way battle from like literally lap 1 to the end. So for me, it really didn't feel any different. The only difference I did a bit of difference on strategy, where I did pit 1 lap earlier in race 2, which and also I put the correct amount of fuel in, which I didn't do in race one, which particularly cost me the win in race one. I feel so. Yeah, apart from that, I really didn't think there was much difference from myself personally.
No, that's fair. I mean, after watching race one back, I don't think we've quite had a battle like it yet in this league where you've got, a number of drivers literally swapping places on every single lap, battling for every single lap. And then obviously in race two, even though you're at the back of the grid, you were all still sat together. So the battle carried on forward into race two, which is pretty special. Reverse grids, as you were mentioning at the end of race one, they can get messy early on. How did you approach those first few laps without compromising the tyres and getting caught into chaos?
So on my tyre wear, I knew because I was pitting one lap earlier. I knew that I had a little bit more tyre to play with until my pit stop, and my approach to it was I needed to beat the guys that's in and around me in the championship. So I was just for all like elbows out, full send. That was my approach to it. Obviously, trying to do it without trying to not knock people off track or whatever. Yeah, it was just a full send attitude in race two for me. In race two, yeah, full send attitude.
It definitely paid off. At what point did you realise a podium or maybe even a win was realistically on?
I knew a win wasn't on, but I knew a podium was possible on lap three. As soon as I got past GT, because in race one GT, I felt GT was a real tough competitor to get past in race one. Yeah, we had a few moments in race one, and I just feel that I don't get me wrong. I love racing GT. He's a great competitor. He got his elbows out, which is rightly so. But I knew as soon as I could get past him in race two and gap him, I knew then I could further progress in the race. And definitely lap three, when I got past him, was the moment I thought a podium is definitely possible.
Very good, very good. Yeah, the battle between you and Pally in with GT and race one was definitely elbows out between both of you. Some really good racing and some very close racing. That's for sure. But yeah, solid weekend all round, and two really good results there for the championship, and obviously team points as well that you're taking through as well into the next round. Obviously with a special stage coming on this weekend. So yeah, very well done this weekend. Smoke, moving on to you. Obviously Plantis teammate. You're in the team title battle. It was a difficult weekend for you. What do you feel was the biggest challenge for you around Deep Forest?
Keeping it on the track was a big problem. Yeah. No, I had mistakes, one in each race, and both of them just ruined it for me. I was going good. Race one, had a really good battle with Woody all the way through the race, and I started pressing him, and I pressed a bit too much towards the end, and paid the price for it. But I had really good fun in that race there.
Yeah, I know the replay didn't catch much of it in race one, but I do know you two had a really good battle and it went on for quite some time. And I think that's one of the for me it's one of the key differences when you're racing on the wheel, and especially in these cars, you can push, but when you push too much, it's so easy to lose the back end and to spin. There's you're constantly on the limit, and
Also, sorry, interrupted there. But also in VR, when you crash and you end up facing the wall and you don't know which way your wheels spun and you go to flick the gear, sometimes you might flick the gear up the way rather than just going into reverse to reverse away from the.
Do you know,
a spin out can cost you a lot more time in VR than it does just in like normal.
Do you know, I never
if you know.
never even thought of that, but yeah, that is very, very true. Very, very true. To be fair, it's a whole different experience altogether in VR, in it, as a couple of you lads know, obviously in the league using VR. But yeah, I never even thought of that. It's an interesting one, is that? Um, but in both races, obviously you had moments that didn't go your way. Were they similar mistakes or completely different situations?
They were similar mistakes in that I just pushed a little bit too hard, maybe caught a curb, and then once it starts to go, it's quite hard to catch on the wheel. And in the second race, I was having a great battle with Wolfie up the front, and yeah, I just started to slip back because I was maybe pushing a bit too hard, and then I ultimately made big mistake, and yeah, it just didn't go my way.
No, that's fair. And to be fair, I mean, obviously making the switch over to wheel myself towards the end of last year, I kind of know what you mean. On this game in particular, when the car spins, it is so hard to pull it back. It always seems to be fractionally too late, and I think a lot of it goes down to obviously the feeling that you get through the wheel. But it's as soon as you start to spin, you can't seem to snap it back in, and straighten yourself up. I don't know how some people do it, but that is one of the nuances between pad and wheel for sure. With weekends like this, is it about resetting the mentality before the next round? And I mean, we've got another tough race coming up this weekend, arguably probably the toughest race that the league's ever seen, going to Spa in the Formula Series for the special event. How are you going to prepare for that? Resetting the mentality.
I'm just gonna practice, try and be consistent rather than fast, and then take it from there. I think.
Yeah, I think you're bang on. Like, going into this weekend, knowing what the cars are going to be handling like, knowing the challenges that we've got with Spa, with it being a 50-minute long race. We're looking at 26, 27 laps with the variable weather. The fastest isn't necessarily going to win that race because it's going to be the most consistent driver that will be up there and that will win the race essentially. So, steady away and
as we say up in Aberdeen, slowly, G-Monkey.
That's the way, mate. That's the way. All right, well, it's been a pleasure having you both on for the interview after race 2. And yeah, both very well played this weekend. I know, obviously, Smoke, it didn't go your way, but at the end of the day, you've still scored some team points that are all counting towards the Constructors' Championship that you're both chasing. So thank you very much. And yeah, we will see you in Spa this weekend. So that concludes round 5 of the Apex and Chill Racing League. Next weekend we are at Spa in the Formula Series for a 50-minute special event. It proves to be a challenging event with variable weather, and judging by the practice this week, we're going to be in for an entertaining weekend. So do make sure you tune in next weekend for round 6, the special event in the Apex and Chill Racing League. If you do like the video, please do give us a like rating, drop your comments in the comment section, and if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to keep up to date with all of the videos and all of the content that we've got coming out over the coming weeks. And yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next week.